The Chris Watts family house is up for sale. So what I originally planned for today was to take you guys through a web page that was found advertising the Watts family Frederick Drive house, just as a sort of shorter video that I can do while I write up my notes for the next mixtape review. However, the website doesn't seem to be letting me in, and I don't have a VPN, so I think we'll have to settle for pictures and screenshots. It's no biggie though. As I was stumbling through the cesspool that we know as Reddit, there was a post on Morbid Reality that really caught my eye. A house on Frederick Drive being sold for $660,000. To anybody who doesn't know the story of this house, this might just look like any ordinary house. However, the backstory is that this man here, Chris Watts, strangled his wife until she died in the house. He also smothered his two daughters with blankets until they died. He buried his wife's body in the ground and put his two daughters into a crude oil tank at a place that his company leased. And we're not going to go into every detail or many details about this case, as it is actually something that I've got planned for another video. Now, the thing about this house being on sale is that this murder, or these murders, only happened 4 years ago. The problem with this is that this house is still what I'd call a true crime tourist attraction. Apparently the neighbours still have trouble with people just coming and staring at the house. They'll also take pictures of the house in which the neighbours will come out and try and send them away, which is completely understandable. And I'm fairly convinced that most of the people trying to bid on this house or buy the house are fully aware of what went on here and the type of man that lived in this house. And apparently people are bidding from as far away as Germany, which just adds to the fact that people just want this house as a museum or some kind of tourist attraction to make a profit in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really nice house, but I do believe that it should have been demolished, which means people wouldn't have been disturbing the neighbours all the time for the past 4 years. And even more now, knowing that people know about the house being up for sale, I fully believe that this makes it a reason for people to go and visit the house even more, which honestly really isn't ideal. Now, apparently the house has actually been given a fake address as to deter true crime enthusiasts from turning up trying to view the house, instead of people who genuinely want to live there. And B, this house should definitely not have been advertised all over the web. And if you've seen any media outlets post about this house, then you know that they've labelled it as a house that's been sold secretly. Well, not anymore, obviously, because it's now all over the internet. It should really have been privately sold off somewhere, or, as I said in point A, sold and demolished. And to add to this, apparently the house was also auctioned in 2019, less than a year after the murders happened, in which nobody actually bidded on it. And overall, this house holds some very horrific history, and what happened here was scary, especially it being the house that Chris Watts straight up lied about the location and knowing where his wife and children were at the time. I mean, he literally told the police that his wife and children had disappeared, and that his wife had packed her things, left her phone, and then disappeared with the kids, when, as a matter of fact, they were unfortunately buried 6 feet underground, as well as in a crude oil tank. It would be heavily disturbing to think about, especially if you lived there, and that's all I've really got to say about this particular house. I just want to talk about the fact that this house is currently up for sale. It's always interesting when something that holds a bleak or dark history goes up for sale, be it an item or a house, and this house is certainly one of those things.